Crocs that he has. Like, who cares? It's not like it's a pivotal part of the character. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Casual. For those who are new here, we are so glad to have you here today. We are back with another monthly wrap up. This is everything that I read in the month of April. If you're new to this channel, hello, welcome. I recently, over the past 6 or so months, have been dealing with a lot of health complications that stemmed from a concussion that I had. So, that's been a very slow healing journey. It complicated my relationship with digital media, so video games, watching TV, watching movies, looking at my phone, anything along those lines. However, it's been getting better. And so now I can basically play video games without it hurting my head for hours. Not quite to where I used to be, where I could stream for 8 hours and then go about my day. My reading amount has gotten a lot less over the past couple of months because I'm playing more video games because I love them and I'm glad to be able to play them again. That being said, we're here with our lovely wrap up. 7 books for the month of April. We have 6 of them right here. One of them was a audiobook that I listened to. I'm trying so hard to get into audiobooks. They're just not normally for me. But with playing more video games, I got really sucked into a game called Coral Island. And so I basically listened to the entirety of our first book of the month, Summer Reading, on an audiobook. It was cute. It was about a girl that moves into this coastal town and she's kind of trying to find her place in the world, basically. Her parents, her dad and stepmom, are going off on a really exclusive, all-inclusive European vacation, and they're going to be gone for, I think it's a couple of months. And so they need somebody to watch their 14-year-old son. She's 28 and her brother's 14. So there's quite a bit of difference. So she had actually moved out of the house before he even really was old enough to know what was up. They don't really know each other. So the book was a romance, but it was also about her growth over this summer vacation, trying to figure out what's important to her. Her best friend works at the library. She starts seeing the head of the library, but he's also on this journey to find his dad that his mom refuses to talk about. So they're on their own individual journeys, but they do end up finding each other. And all along, she talks about her dyslexia that she has. I rated this a 3.5 because it was kind of not preachy, but this is a PSA about dyslexia, and these are the things that you'll see. And I swear the word neurodivergence was stated 1,000 times. It was just not super for me in this book, but it was cute. I got it, like I said, 3.5 stars. Next we read A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is a companion series, I suppose, with the From Blood and Ash series. You're supposed to read the first 3 books in the From Blood and Ash, and then this is the first book in From Flesh and Fire, which is the next series. This has to do with Nyktos and the first maiden, whose name is Seraphina. And it's hard to describe because you have to kind of read the other series to know what's up. But kind of the lore with this series is that the maiden is a chosen mortal that's separated from society, isn't supposed to be touched, isn't supposed to be talking to people, isn't supposed to be having fun. They're supposed to be very pure so everybody can ascend with them. And this is the story of her being the first one. She's chosen as the consort for Nyktos. He is the god of death, the primal of death, which is more intense than a god. I really liked this. It was kind of a hard cut into like learning a new storyline, but it felt so similar to the other. Like, little feisty girl that can take care of herself and is badass versus tall, strong, broody, I'm no good for anyone man. It was kind of the same dynamic with just a little bit of a different plot. There were different stakes and different things they were trying to achieve, but it was a very similar vibe. So I was cool with that. I gave this one a 4 stars. I think it was a good introduction to this new series. Next, we read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. What can I say about this book? This book is in the same, like, cinematic universe, literary universe, as Part of Your World and Yours Truly, and you guys know that I love both of those books more than her original series that she had. 5 freaking stars. 5 whole stars. I put 5 stars with 2 exclamation points in my reading journal. This is my new favorite book by her. We have our 2 main characters are cursed in love. It starts with an Am I the Asshole Reddit post, and I thought that was so funny. This book screams millennial love, which is me, so I'm chill with that. I don't know if Gen Z will appreciate it as much, but I loved it so much. There's a scene where she gets really sick and he like comes and takes care of her. Ugh. This man is one of the best book boyfriends of all time. He's so go with the flow. He's so caring. He ends up having to take custody of his 3 younger siblings. And so his life is changing. And then we have her. She has a really difficult relationship with her mother, which has led her to be like an extremely avoidant attachment style. So like the first thing that goes wrong, she's out. She doesn't get attached to anyone. She just doesn't stick around for long enough because everyone eventually is going to disappoint her. So they are both cursed in dating. The second that they break up with someone, that someone finds their soulmate. So they make a deal that they will date each other and then it'll break both of their curses respectively. And then they can go on and find their soulmates after they break up. But of course, that lasts about 5 minutes. It's very obvious that they're not going to break up, but the romance is almost a subplot in this book. It's more of like them as people growing and learning how to be the best version of themselves and then coming together. It's just so good. It's so good. It's a lot to learn from. It's a lot to appreciate. And it was just my new favorite by her. I think that Abby Jimenez is now up there with Anna Huang about books that can really tug at the heartstrings and really make you feel something. I'm going to say a hot take that Abby Jimenez has dethroned Emily Henry as a favorite for me. Because I've read all 6 books that Abby Jimenez has written because I felt the need, the drive to want to read them. And I have 4 Emily Henry books and I've only read 2 of them because I just don't feel the need to read People on Vacation and Book Lovers. I'm going to, but I just haven't felt the like, I need this in my life as much as I have with her works. 5 stars. Can recommend to everyone for the summer. Perfect summer vibes. Next, we hop back into the From Blood and Ash universe with The War of Two Queens. This is the 4th book and technically the last like canonical story book of the From Blood and Ash series, and then it's just the From Flesh and Fire after that. This book, I think, was my least favorite of them. I gave it a 3.75. I can't even really put my finger on what it was that kind of turned me off about this book when it comes to like the other ones being rated so highly. I think they were just too horny. Like it was like she was trying to cram in every spice scene that she could think of that she didn't in the other books into this one, which was really distracting from the plot at hand. Like, they've been together for several books now. I don't need them to be, I get that they're horny, but like, they don't need to be that horny for each other. There's some real like world ending stuff going on. She really leaned too much into the like romantasy side of things instead of the like war and political intrigue side of things, which is what I really liked about the middle 2 books. So yeah, my least favorite in the series, but hopefully the Flesh and Fire will kind of redeem that interconnected series as a whole for me. Next, we have a little horror in Starve Acre. This was a very short little guy. This one was a book outlet purchase from my TBR jar video. If you guys want to watch that, feel free. This is a hot girl, smart girl book. Lots of symbolism, lots of like historical horror in the sense of like, there was this tree where someone was hanged and now their spirit haunts this field and it's causing bad things to happen to those who go into the field, but he feels so drawn to go into it. Check your trigger warnings with this. It has to do with the death of a child, which is on the back. But it's like they tried to be too pretentious and it was overwritten. For being so short, nothing happens. So I gave it a 3 stars. I've never read anything by Andrew Michael Hurley. I'm willing to give him another shot, but I just think that this style is just not for me. I like horror with spooks, not horror with like social commentary, which some people do. It's just, it wasn't for me. And then our last 2 books of the month. Next we read Funny Story by Emily Henry. This book has had a lot of mixed reviews from people that I've seen here lately. I have been seeing mixed reviews about this book specifically. A lot of people have been saying that they're not attracted to the male main character Miles because he's a stoner, he doesn't really have much of a personality, and he's just too obsessed with his ex, which I can see, but like from the description of his apartment, from the acts of service that he does for Daphne, our main female character, and like the way that he's described with like his beard and messy hair and really tall, it's just, that's exactly my type of dude. And I'd like, him being a stoner does not bother me at all because it literally isn't talked about after the first like 2 chapters or whenever she first moves in. That's the only time they talk about it. So I don't know why people have really latched on to that look. And the Crocs that he has, like, who cares? It's not like it's a pivotal part of the character. And then the other kind of critique I've seen about this book is that this book is not about them, it's about their exes. And that I can actually give it some credit because the main kind of plot device is that her fiance has left her for his childhood best friend, which is Miles's girlfriend. So her ex Peter and his ex Petra are now together, engaged. So now they're both broken up with after years and years and years with these people. She now has to move out of her house and Miles has space in his apartment. So that's how they kind of find room for each other in their lives, because otherwise they probably would never have crossed paths. And it was kind of an accident as to how they kind of met in the first place, because he came to her house looking for his ex, thinking that she was there. It's well written, it's funny, it's almost not as much of a romance as it is about like moving on from your ex and how important it is to kind of find someone who understands what you're going through and how to find yourself outside of the context of a relationship, because she has just jumped from one relationship to the other one and realized that she shoehorns herself into these people's lives and then has kind of basically negated her life in the meantime. Like, she doesn't have a life. She just joins theirs. And so she is kind of on this quest to find her life now. And there's this countdown of how long it is until she can move out of this town and move out of this apartment, until she gets a new job. And you can kind of tell from early on that she's not going to be leaving, because it's a romance book. Of course, they're going to be together. But I think that that countdown kind of led to a sense of urgency on her part that the male main character didn't have and didn't know about. And so it was the critique that he's like trying to like get with her really, really fast. Does it really go, like, it doesn't really matter, because he doesn't know that she's going to be leaving or that she's thinking of leaving. It's just on her. He just really likes her and has finally found somebody, after being in this horrible relationship for so long, that he can actually be with and be friends with. And then it turns into, it's almost like a friends to lovers situation, because they're really there for each other during this breakup time, because they know exactly what's going on. And yes, they do talk about their exes a lot, because their exes are a huge part of their lives. Like I said, they both have kind of integrated their lives into somebody else's, and now they're trying to find themselves outside of that. And then they can kind of work on that together and build a new life together. So I didn't really hate that part. There's a third act conflict in this that just kind of came out of left field, and I don't think that the way that this character was set up, that he was like the king of communication, and I don't think that he would have communicated, or lack thereof of communication, with her to the extent that he did. Like, he said that he panicked, but like, it didn't make sense, so I docked a 0.25. So we had a 4.75 in this guy, but like, I just couldn't, I wanted to give it a 5 stars. I did, because I flew through it. I ate it up. I thought it was so good, but I just didn't have that 5-star feeling like I did with Just for the Summer. But I thought it was great. Single POV, like all of Emily Henry's books are. It's only from Daphne, the female main character's perspective. So know that going in. But Just for the Summer is for a dual POV, so it's from both of their perspectives, which, again, I think makes it better. Definitely would recommend, though. I liked it better than Happy Place, but not as much as Beach Read. So I'm interested to see, going forward this summer, how People We Meet on Vacation and how book lovers fit into that ranking. And then lastly, we have The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. This was a 4 stars. This book is a whole lot of like, what the hell's going on? Until it's like, that's what's going on. And all of the strings are tied up together. This is kind of triple POV with 2 different timelines. So in the present timeline, there's Ruthie, whose mom goes missing, and she's having to take care of her little sister Fawn. And then there's also Catherine in the present timeline, whose husband met with Ruthie's mom right before he was killed, and he lied about it, and she doesn't know why. So the mom is missing, and the husband is dead, and so they were connected to each other, and neither party's families knows why. So they're trying to figure that out. And then in the past timeline, in 1908... there was the original owner of the farmhouse that the sisters live in with their mom. And it's a mother whose child dies and she can't let her go. And so the lengths that a mother will do to get back to her daughter. But then there's also like the historical timeline. So it was like an even further back historical timeline because it was through a diary. It was kind of convoluted in that sense, but each chapter that changed perspective was listed very clearly as to what perspective was going on. So that part was easy to understand. It was a lot more supernatural than the other book that I've read. I would say the best part of this book is the relationship between the 2 daughters. So one is 19. She's trying to go off to college, but her family can't afford it, and so she has to decide whether she wants to, like, leave of her own accord or stay and save some money and then go off at a later date. The rebellious older teen and the pesky younger sister, like, bonding over trying to find their mom. By far the best part of this book. The Supernatural was okay. The book was from 2014, so it was a little bit dated in that regard. It was like it was trying to skirt the line between horror and mystery. And it was good. It was entertaining. I read it very quickly, but it won't be going on any of my favorites lists anytime soon. That does it for this month's reading wrap up. What did you guys read this month? Did you read any new releases? Did you read any repeat authors? That's what I've really been focusing on here lately, is repeat authors, trying to see if their newer works that they're coming out with match up with my love of other books that they've written. Let me know down in the comments if you guys have read any of these books, if you liked any of them, if you want to see anything in a months down the road wrap-ups, anything you recommend. I'm also not sure that I'm going to be doing a May TBR, but if you guys would like to, feel free to comment down below if you would like one. But other than that, I love you all. Stay safe out there. Support your local library, and happy reading.